moments that felt like the Lord is after me.
Yep.
Like he's chasing my heart. He's chasing my affections. Like he's slowly summoning me before the summons.
Yeah.
What did it look like for God? Like like leading up to your conversion, what did it look like for God to start drawing you?
That's powerful, right? So I wanna first mention something about Paul, and then I wanna come back to that, right? So we remember when Paul is on his way to Damascus, and he is knocked down to the floor, and he hears the Lord speaking to him in a language he understands, and he says, Saul, Saul, it's hard for you to kick against the goads, right? And we know that Saul is converted. That word goad is a very important word in the text, because a goad is a stick with a sharp, blunt object on the end, and they use it to poke oxen when they're stubborn. So if an oxen doesn't want to move, they would use that goad to keep poking that oxen so the oxen can finally move. So when the Lord said to him, Saul, Saul, it's hard for you to kick against the goads, that has given us insight that the Lord was probably tapping Saul a couple times before he actually got a hold of him on that road. It's hard for you to keep fighting against my tap on your soul. You're fighting against the kick of his goals. The same thing happened in my life, right? I remember being in college and a stranger walking up to me on my campus. I was at North Carolina Central University. Shout out all the Eagles. Shout out all the HBCUs. I'm on my campus, first semester. This strange shorty walk up on me, man. She got a head wrap, and I was like, she look crazy, right? She walks right up on me in the middle of the yard. She was like, you know who God is? Like, no, he's calling you. And she walks off. I'm like, yo, this female is strange. But then right, like, yo, she's strange, yo. But that tapped me, right?
Oh.
The very next year in college, man, I have to use the bathroom. Like, we can just keep it going. I got to do this number 2, right? So, you don't want to go to the bathroom with everybody in there. Right. So I go to the back of the campus to like a remote bathroom in the back of the campus, right? Like, and I'm thinking it's not going to be nobody in this bathroom. Yeah. And I go in there, I go in the stall, I do what I got to do, bro. The bathroom is small, it's no bigger than where we are. I come out that bathroom, there's a man standing at the sink. And he startled me, right? He startled me. And I walk over to the sink to wash my hands, and I'm so afraid I don't even look at him. And he starts talking to me. God is calling you. God is calling you. And as I'm looking at it, I don't see no reflection of him in the mirror. I'm like just completely frozen. He said, God is calling you. He turns and he walks out the bathroom. I'm stunned. I walk out the bathroom. I can't find this man. I run out to the campus. I can't find this man. He was wearing a uniform. Like, yo, what color the cops wear in Durham, North Carolina? Yo, the cops wear burgundy and blah, 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 blah. Yo, I just saw a cop. He was wearing this color as well. The cops don't wear that kind of color. And I don't know if I was visited by an angel.
There might be angels amongst you.
But the scripture says we got to be careful how we treat strangers, because sometimes we entertain angels unaware. All I knew that this man was not wearing the color uniform as the police on campus, and he had no reflection in the mirror, right? But he did tell me God is calling you. So I had those gold moments where God was making himself.
What's going on, guys?
This isn't easy to say.
Your mother and I think you're hooked on phonics.
It's preposterous.
I found this under your pillow.
I just read that for the pictures.
There are no pictures.
Alive to me. He was making himself known, but it wasn't until he ran me down at 24.
That's beautiful. What would have been the reason to resist it?
Fear of God. Thinking like, I had this thought in my mind, like Christianity is boring. It is prison.
Oh my God.
I had to give up. I'm having too much sex. I have to stop having sex. I have to stop smoking weed. I'm not going to be able to run in the clubs. Like, I'm thinking the life I have to give up, I don't want to exchange that life for Christianity that I see is boring. Like, so church to me is boring. Preachers are whack. I don't want to be in church on Sunday morning. So I'm thinking all of that is so whack to me. I don't want to give up my sin for what I saw was just religious and boring. So it's fear of God completely and unwillingness to sacrifice the life that I was living.
But you messed with Islam for a second, right?
I did.
So what about Islam because you got to give up stuff with them too?
Notice how I'm asking Jackie.
I'm sorry.
I'm letting you ask all the questions, because we literally talked about, me and Phil literally talked about all this.
Yeah, nah. So right before it was maybe a couple months before I was really saved. I had met a dude who was in the nation, and at this point, I think I'm suicidal at this point, and we could talk about that. I'm feeling suicidal. I'm feeling empty. So now I'm just searching for meaning. Okay, I'm pushing a Q45 Infinity, right? Like in
Nice.
Durham, North Carolina. I got like my joint is dope, right?
Yeah.
Like around the time when Nas is like, yo, if I could rule the world and everything, and it, like sky's the limit. I'll push a Q45. Like so, right. So,
Oh, that was your first car.
That's your first car.
Hello.
Because I saw it in the little rap
Hello.
videos. And
You had a Q45?
Hello.
Yo, shout out, right? So yeah. So I got the. This is a true story. I got a Q45. I got money. I got a nice apartment. I got a dope girlfriend at the time, which was Lena, who ended up becoming my wife. So I got all the trappings of what we would call worldly success.
Hello.
I'm not empty on the inside now. For the first
Braiding
time,
my hair.
like, what is life? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? Yeah. I get caught up with this Islamic dude. I end up in the nation. Now he's supposed to be like my leader, my whatever he called himself. And so now he's coming to the house. We praying 5 times a day. I stopped eating pork. I'm going with him to these gatherings, and I'm doing that for a season, right? But it's like, can we be real? Like, can we be?
Thank you. I'm gonna put on my wig.
And I'm doing all this stuff.
So I gotta braid my hair down.
This feels really empty to me.
I could put it in a ponytail, but I really don't want to do that. So
how am I gonna know when he's pleased? It's kind of like the way we were taught is like you gotta keep doing all of these things to please Allah. And I'm like, well, I start asking myself, well, when is he gonna be pleased? I feel always like I'm falling short of Allah. Like what like I don't even feel connected to him. I don't feel him personally. He's the name in the Quran, and we praying 5 times a day to the east. And I'm not eating pork, and I love pork. And I'm not eating bacon. I love pork for rice and chicken wings. Like this is really whack to me at some point in time because it's religious duty, but it's empty. There is no. It's only like mental assent. But there's nothing in my heart, and it feels so empty. I start to question what we're doing, and I just start pushing back against my leader and asking him questions he can't answer. And one day I just got frustrated. I said, "Bro, I'm going to this Chinese restaurant up on the corner. I'm about to get me some pork for rice and chicken wings, and I'm done with you, and I'm done with this." And that's what happened. But then a couple months later, the Lord would save me. You know what I'm saying?
You talk about that, the moment the Lord saved you. That's like
yeah, man. So after I'm done with that Islamic dude, I continue to descend in emptiness. I'm suicidal for the first time. I'm sitting in my apartment alone. I got a shotgun on my lap, but I don't got the courage to pull the trigger, right? So I got a fifth of Hennessy in my cupboard. I pull that fifth of Hennessy. I'm drinking that Henny, trying to get myself drunk enough to pull this trigger. At this point, I'm not thinking about tomorrow. The pain of each day and the depression I'm dealing with was so great. I'm thinking to alleviate myself from this depression, it'll be easier for myself to just kill myself. And for me, I thought death was like sleeping, that if I just kill myself, everything is terminated. So by the time I actually get drunk enough to pull that trigger, I raise that barrel to my chin. And I had locks back in those days, right? And there was this Christian girl who used to twist my locks. She was a believer. And I thought she was whack because she would say stuff like, well, what you going to do when you finish twist my locks? I'm about to go home and get in my word. I said, get in your what? Get in my word. Like, you whack. Like, that's boring. She comes to visit my house that night just out of the blue. My door's unlocked. So I'm sitting there with the barrel to my chin.
Conflict.
ooh, ass, ooh.
Hunger isn't fair. Being forced to work at the age of
I'm
10.
gonna go back to
And she walks
premium.
She see,
Hello. I'm braiding my hair down before I put on my wig.
I got tears in my eyes. The Hennessy bottle's empty.
I got a half wig.
She walks over to me. She
My
sits down.
favorite
She takes my hand.
half wig that I'm gonna put on.
I will learn later about the ministry of
So
presence. Sometimes you don't always have to have the answers.
Yep.
She said nothing to me at all.
So I could put it in a rubber band, but I do not want to. So I'm going to braid down. I'm listening to the Paris podcast with Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell. Just listen to their podcast while I'm braiding down my hair on this Saturday night.
Now, Lena is a believer when I meet her, but my hold on her is like I pull her away from her community. She's not properly discipled. So she's a Christian, but she's like almost like backsliding, messing with this dude. Lena gets into an accident. She comes home. She's so thankful she didn't get injured in an accident. She puts on gospel music. It's my first time I've ever heard gospel music. And Lena's back there listening to some CC Wine and some something. And she has her hand raised. She's praising God. She's pacing the room back and forth, praising God. She's in tears. And I'm staring at her. And for the first time in my mind, whatever that is right there, I want that. And I turned to my right and crawled into our bathroom on my hands and knees. And now I start shouting at God. If you are real, you would reveal yourself to me. If you are real, you would. And I'm shouting at just this is my last string. And God revealed himself to me in that bathroom.
That's beautiful.
My tears of sorrow and suicide has turned into tears of joy. For the first time, I feel alive on the inside. And when I come out that bathroom, I knew something had happened to me because I go back into our bedroom that night. I have sex with Lena that night. She gets pregnant that night. Well, I could tell that story now because, for Malachi, I could tell that story now. Malachi gets conceived that night. But for the first time, I feel guilty about sin. For the first time, I feel like this is wrong. This doesn't feel right. It's the very first time I had knowledge of sin. I had no
Bless you.
that sin was in me. So I slept on the couch for 6 months until Lena and I got married. And that is how I came into the faith. And so for me, I almost feel like God came and got me for himself. No preacher, no altar call, no sinner's prayer, whatever that is, no, none of the pixie dust. I feel like God personally came for me. It's beautiful. Personally. And when I think about all of my escapades, when I think about shootouts I've been in, I talk about this a lot. When I think about the bullet that grazed my right ear, when I think about my man who was drunk one night, we got a trunk full of guns, we headed to a shootout, he drives off a cliff drunk. When I think about all the times I could have died and been eternally lost, but God came and got me that day in the bathroom, and think all that time his grace kept me alive. There is this deep affection I have for God. Like, we call him Savior, but I feel that deeply. Like, you came and got me for yourself. And so there is this deep turn towards him where it can't be game playing for me. Does that make sense? It makes sense. Yeah. So I feel like I was radically brought into the kingdom, and that stays with me to this day, man. That's dope.
From there, before we transition, I would like you.
I'm gonna lay some hair out at the bottom.
Even like what you preach Sunday
right here.
about calling. Yeah. Like, because I can imagine people are listening, hearing this, watching this. And it's like, how do I know God is calling me? What does it mean for him to summon me? Like, how do I have that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you discern that?
Yeah, I think first things, I think that there is a pseudo type of calling. There is a blue pill. There is an Americanized version of calling that I think is sensationalized and romanticized and almost ethereal of sorts. That I think a lot of American Christians latch hold to, and so they think calling, they automatically think about lights and platforms and all this stuff. But I think there is a biblical calling is when there is this sense in your heart that God is wooing you to himself. We feel that in our rebellion. We feel that when we far away. We feel that tugging on our soul. I think there's people who can testify. They can feel that tugging. They can sense that God is moving, although they may be rejecting. And I think we have to give God credit for that. I think there are too many believers who are so, for lack of a better terms, they are so narcissistic and full of themselves to think that their salvation was a work of themselves. When no one comes to the Father except the Lord draws them. So I think when we think calling, can I go a little bit deeper for just a second without preaching?
Let's do it. We want you to preach.
Right. I think almost the majority of the time in the New Testament where the word calling or where we think purpose is referenced in the New Testament, we automatically see that as, we think calling in America, we think a platform, we think an assignment, we think all of that. But the majority of the time, the word calling is actually mentioned in the New Testament in its proper context. It has to do with salvation, it has to do with God wooing a human being to himself. We take calling and we automatically attach that to what I would call assignments, right? Like me being a pastor is an assignment, right? But the majority of the time, the New Testament is speaking of calling. If you study that properly, it speaks of God wooing a human being to himself.
Calling us to himself.
Yes. Yeah. So the call first is to himself, not to a platform, not to a stage, not to a title, not to an office. Calling is to himself. And I think there are those of us who knew that God wooed us to himself. We can sense that moment when something transformed in our heart, whether it was gradual or for me it was instantaneous. We know because now there's an awareness of sin. I think if there's no awareness of sin, if there is no awareness that this is wrong, I'm not sure if you've been called. I'm not sure if you've been converted into Christianity. I think you have Christian lingo and Christian behavior, but you have not been converted. You have not been born again.
But I think the beautiful thing is,
does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. I think the beautiful thing what you just said, because I think your salvation story, it kind of reminds me a lot of mine and a lot of my
100%.
friends who got saved, like my friend Chucky. I mean, when you was talking, I was thinking about him because it was both gradual,
yeah,
and it was instant.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I feel like it was instant when you get your life to the Lord in the bathroom. But at the same time, it was like the Lord was like slowly but surely like knocking at the door of your heart.
Yeah.
Can't let that go in that bathroom.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so like I think that's another way in which we can know that God is calling us when don't think that the people that have come in your life is by accident.
Right, 100%.
God's divine sovereignty and God's divine providence was sending people, and that's just that is a pursuit, that is wooing. You know what I'm saying? He often uses people to carry out his will to draw those whom he calls to himself. And
I think I won't leave that much out.
And I'm thinking about what's so powerful about what you're saying. And this is what also too bothers me about the American context in terms of church. How do you reason in your mind?
Commend you.
That a holy being call
yep.
an unworthy sinner to himself, fill you with his spirit, zip you up with his righteousness, and you take that for granted. And I think we don't even think about the lengths God goes through to call a person to himself.
But like her dad said, this is hard, annoying sometimes. Oh my gosh, I commend you.
It's like we don't even think about the depths of what we are born into.
Yeah, I'm used to doing this. I'm used to doing. I really don't like doing my hair like that. I can. I'm not gonna sit here and do a whole, knotless boho braids. But I'll braid my hair down, put a wig on. Like I said, this is a half wig, so I'm gonna pop it on. I'm gonna instantly have inches, but like I don't have the patience for like the braids. I was thinking like maybe cornrows. That's about it. But I mean, it's been like years since I did some individuals in my head, and it was a disaster. But I wore them anyway. I don't know. I'll straighten my hair, color it. I used to relax my hair. Roller set, flexi rods. I'll do that. Oh yeah, roller set, flexi rods, relaxer, color, silk press, quick weave. But like the braid styles that I've been wanting, I don't think I got the patience to sit there. It's gonna take about a week for me to do it all the way. Like it's gonna take a week for me to do some knotless medium back length. It's gonna take a while, and I don't have no desire to do that anymore. Like I said, I mean, when I was younger, I did it. As an adult, I think I did some braids in my hair one time, and that was the one time it. But I've really been thinking about lately, like some cornrows, just because, like the time that it takes, to do it. I just don't want to sit in somebody else's establishment for 7, 8 hours. So I'm like, let me do it and just break it up in, okay, day 1, 2, and 3. So that's why I was like, I just don't want to sit that long. And then also the cost of it. The cost of braids is up. It's definitely a luxury. And it's not in my budget currently, so no. It's a no for me, and that's just me. But I'll braid my own hair down and put a wig on in a minute. In a minute. And the next thing that I'm going to do myself or teach myself or get back to myself is makeup. Doing my own makeup. Doing my own makeup because it is just, like I said, not in my budget. If I want it done like all the time, like, but you don't get your hair, your makeup done all the time. I just want to know how to do it myself, like how the professionals do. So I know I need to get some new makeup stuff because it's been a while, but it has been a while, and I feel like this new products, new techniques, new just stuff that's out there that I want to get to do my own makeup, you know, like glam makeup. I like my everyday. I got my everyday down, but like the glam makeup, yes, I need to sit down and figure out my colors and shades and all of that stuff. So yeah, but I say if you can do your hair, do your hair. If you can do your own makeup, all of that. I mean, it's good to have somebody else to do it. Especially if you ain't no professional, get your chemicals done by a professional. But yeah, that's one skill that's great to have. Knowing how to do your own hair.
How much of the way I handle suffering reveals what I actually think about grace. 100%. Let me explain. Like I think I've been in a awkward, hard season where there's this perspective that I'm trying to fight against where God is mad at me. And I think feeling like he's mad at me is because if I have a low, this is gonna sound complicated, but follow me. If I have a view of righteousness that says
yes.
if I just do all
you
the
learn,
things,
just put your mind to it.
me,
yes, that's
you
right.
me, you will delight in me if I'm just faithful.
That's right.
If I just read
Tay.
if I just pray enough. So that when stuff is hard, it must mean
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get to where my makeup game is on point on myself.
You know and so it's like
I'm gonna get there.
I have to remember you were saved by grace. You are loved because of grace. You are kept because of grace. And so the suffering cannot allow you to lose your mind and have you think that this whole thing is grace.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was going to say what's so powerful about that. Y'all remember on Sunday when I was walking through the first 3 verses in Jude, there was a section in the message when I was talking about when God talks about He calls you the beloved, right? And without I kind of pivot for a second to what Paul wrote to the church in Rome. That God demonstrates His love for us. That He had sent us. Christ died for us, right? And I'm trying to remind our brothers and sisters that if we don't attach love to what Christ did on the cross, then it can be behavior, it can be performance, it can be materialism. So when we feel like our performance is not good, He may not love me. Or if things are not working out right, He may not love me. Or if I don't have all the things I pray for, or if I'm suffering, that's why I think it's so important for us to be careful to attach God's love to what He said, what He did for us on the cross, so that when we, because I feel like when we attach it to, I struggle with the same thing. Can I just be 100%?
Well, you wanted to be up here.
Sometimes. It's almost like I struggle with, and it's an insecurity, right? Struggle with sometimes, like, Lord, am I doing good enough? You know, I want the Lord to feel proud of me as a son. I want the Lord to say, my son, I'm proud of you. Am I preaching right? Am I loving leader right? Am I discipling my kids? It's almost like performance and wanting to, it's almost like not having that from a father. You're searching for that affirmation in that performance. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I got to keep trying to remind myself of what He did on the cross as a symbol of love. So when I feel like my performance is not good enough, that doesn't rob me of His perfect love. Does that make sense?
What's crazy is I've struggled with the same thing, and I remember.
So we all struggle with this.
Yeah.
We need deliverance, right?
Because I think it's because we all struggle with shame.
Shame, yeah.
You know, like you feeling like.
Oh, no ad, no ad. Oh, skip.
I have to do X, Y, and Z for my parents' attention and love. And so I think
it's back. I'm getting tired.
But I just feel like there's this.
All right.
Having to get out of the way you were nurtured to see that God is a different parent.
Yeah.
He's not like them. You know what I'm saying? Like he just loves you because he loves you.
What's crazy is I don't think I've ever told this story on the podcast. But you know, when I was deep in my evangelism video days, I would go out and speak to different religions and this community in Atlanta. I was talking to this one guy who was a part of it. It was like this, like a sect of Hebrew Israelites. So I never posted this video. The video was never posted because it was too short. But all while I was talking to him about Ephesians 2:8, that was saved by grace through faith. It is not about works. These things may boast every scripture or whatever. I felt conflicted. The whole time I felt conflicted.
Why is that?
And I couldn't figure out why. When I left, I was driving back home, and I felt like the Lord was like, because even though you know that, you don't live that. You don't live like you're saved by grace through faith. You don't. You often live like you're trying to prove yourself.
Performance based.
You're trying to prove that you're like
trying to prove, yes.
And I've already given it. I already gave it to you. So like for me, I think that it just challenged me to be empathetic to other religions out there who are like, no, I need to prove that I'm worth God saving me. You know what I'm saying?
That's how it was when I was in the nation.
Right. Because even we as Christians, we theoretically know it, but we don't internally believe it.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, run that back. Run that back.
Believe that we as Christians out
there run that back.
Are like, no, I need to prove that I'm worth God saving me. You know what I'm saying?
That's how it was when I was in the nation.
Right. Because even we as Christians, we theoretically know it, but we don't internally believe it.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
And we struggle with that.
And I think that we have to just believe that, know, like, that Christ's death was sufficient for us.
But I think some of that struggle too is parental, right? I think there's a lot of believers who was not raised in a home that was affirming apart from performance, and where it wasn't heard that you were loved apart from performance, and you want to seem like you were loved or affirmed connected to performance. And I think this is important, right? Because, for example, the unknown writer of Hebrews in chapter 12 is making this parallel between earthly fathers and the heavenly Father. The parallel he's making between discipline and love. The powerful thing about that text is that it's given us insight to the fact that when we are properly parented, we should leave our home with some sense of what God the Father would be like if we're properly parented. But if a parent did the best they could, but they didn't show a type of love or affirmation that was disconnected from performance, or we didn't understand discipline was love and all these things, then when we come into a relationship with the Father, there's a lot about his fatherhood we don't understand. For some of us, we hear Father, we think absent, we think abandoned, we think rejected. We don't understand love for who we are apart from performance. Was not affirmed apart from performance. That's why I think it's so powerful in Matthew chapter 3 when Jesus is being baptized. The Father is speaking from heaven, saying, "This is my beloved Son, who I'm well pleased." So he affirms him before he does anything. Before a sermon, before a miracle, before anything, he's being affirmed. And I think if more of us as parents would do that for our children, we could hopefully create future believers who does not see the Lord as someone I must perform for to earn his love, but this was given to you. So my righteousness and my holiness and my life is not lived out of trying to get something from him, but is lived from a place that I've already obtained that righteousness from Christ. I've already obtained that.
That's a hard thing.
It is a hard
thing. Oh yeah, that's hard. Yep.
When you're just faced with the reality of your depravity all the time.
It is.
But you know what I'm processing even in this moment, because this is interesting to me, is I think that's why in Ephesians.
So what if phone flipping, barbering, and teaching kung fu have in common? Well, Christian is teaching people how to phone flip and making $3,977 per month. And he's only halfway through the school games. And then you've got the school and barbershop that just started, and they're making $6,800 per month in recurring revenue. And then you've got Seafood, who's got his Kung Fu Academy, 4 people. and he just cracked $20,000 per month.
All right, let's do this.
And so it doesn't matter what you know, or even if you know anything at all. If you have the right system, you can turn eyeballs into money. And so if that sounds a little interesting,
Marshall.
School games. 1 out of 3 people who finishes their first month makes their first dollar online. Super proud of that. And so if that sounds interesting, you can click the link. I'll see you on the inside.
Getting tired.
I think that's why Paul says, I'm praying that you would have the strength to comprehend.
That's good.
How deep, how wide his love is for you.
That's good.
This is this is a spiritual experience that goes beyond even your ability to understand it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like it's because I feel like in Ephesians 3 he says somewhere like it's I think we should know it, but there's also a knowing that the Spirit has to produce. But I think we have to lean into Him to do it. To experience. Does it make to experience?
No, it makes perfect sense. And I think if I could be 100% transparent, I think I'm still learning. Yeah. For me, right? I'm 20 years in the faith and still learning. That prayer that Paul prayed, I feel like that prayer is still working in me. I'm still fully trying to learn the love of, because I still condemn myself for stuff that I feel like the Lord is like, why are you beating yourself up? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's this. I remember this one time when my wife and I was living in Ohio. Right, watch. Yeah, Malachi was little. He was like 5 or 6. I came home and the dude took a crayon. He like marked up the whole wall. Right.
Came home, told Jackie this.
Right. Marked up the whole wall.
In an apartment.
So right. So now, Lena and I, we this is very profound. This changed my life.
All right.
We out there in Bible college on a scholarship, and obviously we got to pay back this deposit. So I'm like, I came home. Those days. And I'm like, Malachi, why are you writing on this wall? Like, because we gotta get our money back. And I told him you can't be doing this. And he has like soap, dishwasher soap. He's trying to wipe it off. And I'm telling him, don't worry about it. So I discipline him with my words, and then I leave. Right. And
my head itching right here. I feel like I want that to be just 2 right there.
I get up, I go downstairs.
Whew.
I go into the
hurting.
And I see Malachi all
clip them in. I did.
By the toilet, and he's crying. Now,
I did. I didn't want to take too much off.
He got better hair than me. He got that from his mother. Right?
Yeah, that one though.
Everybody in my crib got.
I did clip my ends.
Right, he got that. And so when I see his face,
that one right there.
What are you doing here? He said, Daddy, I was writing on the wall. I said, I forgave you for that. Like,
yeah, I gotta get that one.
Why are you still here? He said, because I was writing on the wall. And in that moment, I felt this deep sorrow in my heart. Not because he was writing on the wall.
I did clip my ends.
Because he just couldn't forgive himself.
We're gonna get this done.
For him to move on with the rest of his day. So he's trapped in this moment trying to figure out, does my daddy still love me? Am I good enough for him?
We're gonna get that. I did. I just sat here and clipped my ends, but that little piece right there. Minute, the dog gotta go out.
Now I'm thinking to myself, if me as a human father felt broken for him because he could not just accept my love and forgiveness.
Minute, the dog gotta go out.
When father feel bruised, when his children can't just freely accept that love deep in their heart and forgiveness. I'm more wounded that you.
Yes, I did.
I love you. You writing.
But look at that. Like I missed that.
I forgave you. Yeah. I still love you. Forgive yourself. Move on. And that I never forgot that. Because he looked just like me. And it's almost like the Lord was saying, see, this is exactly what
yeah, that's a piece I missed, but I did clip my ends.
I gave it to you freely.
But that piece was just
all the time.
Sticking out.
And you keep yourself bound in your mind in seasons and things and places that I've already
there we go.
From. And what hurt me more is not the thing that you did. What hurt me more is that you won't move on. Yeah. That thing rocked me. Yeah. And I'm still processing that, right? You see that? See, I'm talking about this. I'm still processing that. And every time I find myself in these kind of emotive thoughts, I'm like, hey, this God loved me, right? I get a flashback of Malachi in that bathroom. I know as a human being, I cannot love him more than God loves me. So if I can feel that in my heart, man, it makes me think, man, what does God feel in his heart? It's good as us, man. That thing rocked me.
Pray and cry. Well, we're going to pause because we're gonna have a part 2. Because why not?
Thank you.
See y'all next week,
Miss Teresa. I'm trying to get it to grow back because I got like a bald spot. Like I took out some faux locks and then I cut a piece of my hair when I took out my locks on this side. And then I feel like my hairline, which I don't put a lot of tension on it, but I just feel like when I put those locks in, it was a little tension around my hairline. And like right here, I feel like that's a whole bald spot. Like it's a bald spot. Right there. This side was kind of like it. Then, of course, y'all know I got this bad dandruff. And them flakes just be coming. Look at that. I just shampooed my hair. I just shampooed my hair and clipped my ends. Did a light wash. I didn't do a whole lot. And it's all, look, I didn't put nothing on my scalp, though. But look at that. It's like my skin. I do need to put some on there. I ain't put nothing on my actual scalp. Nothing aloe and castor oil won't fix. Yeah. And castor oil. Castor oil seems like it break me out. You finna get kicked off, whoever this KP is. You about to get kicked on our butt. Yep. Because I'm going to flat iron the top of my hair this part, so I don't want to put a whole lot of oil on my scalp, but I'm going to have to put some around these edges. Probably need to do that right now. But after I got those faux locks, that part right there and this over here, the temples, been a mess. Like my scalp, like, oh, you braiding it, I already feel it. Oh, and it just get more and more. Okay, I need to stop. It's not no scratch video. Whew. It's not a scratch video. Let's see. I'm gonna block you. Get it off here. Whew. All right, let me get to finish doing this. Let me see. Ooh. What, Marshall? What, Marshall? Y'all already ate? Huh? Yeah, he need to go outside. No, you can't come on here with all of that. What? Oh. What? That hair? Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna get it in a minute. Okay. I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up. I'm gonna get ready to go to bed. So I'm gonna put on my before bed. Hey, them ads got to go. Okay. Ah! Ooh. One day ago. Where did that? Okay.
91 verses 1 through 8. Philippians chapter 4.
I'm gonna go back. Go to my history. View all. What are you doing? No, I'm not doing no pop smoke braids. I'm braiding my hair because I'm putting on a half wig. And so this is going to be my leave out. And this is the half wig that I'm putting on. So I'm braiding it down and I clip it on and it'll be bam. Then I'll flat iron the top. Bam. Look real natural. I can take it off at night. So I love half wig look. Straight. And this is Yaki human hair. So it matches my texture. It's not like Brazilian, like the straighter textures. So I'm braiding my hair. Now you could put it in a rubber band, but I chose not to. But yeah. And so I'll just take that off. Pew. So yeah, that's why I'm braiding down my hair. And last week I put in a ponytail, but I just want something a little bit more secure. So that's why I'm putting these braids down. I know it look a little strange. James said, "You doing some pop smoke braids?" Yeah. And so I really want some like braids. I really want some like knotless braids, but like they just take too long. It just takes too long. It take too long. I know. So I already shampoo. I'm gonna leave some of this out. I already shampoo, blow dried. I trim my ends already. So I mean, like, it's quick. It look natural. And I paid less than $100 for that U. It's called a U part wig. That's what it's called, U part wig. They got a V part, but it's a U part wig. And I really, really want one smaller one. I have to leave so much hair at the top, but whatever. And I think I'm gonna make this one braid because I'm ready to go eat. Minnie. Oh, let me text her. Woo! I'm about to eat some checkers. Some checkers. Yes, we did DoorDash. It's a DoorDash kind of night. I just wasn't feeling it. Like, my son was like, "You finna order some food?" I'm like, "Okay, order me some too." They trying to act like they don't hear me. But I'm finna have to go get it. They trying to act like they don't hear me. I'm finna go get it. Then usually need to have a little table so you can sit it on. It used to be the chair, but it rained, so don't Marshall. Woo! Don't you do it. Woo. Okay, we finna take a little break. I do like how they put the top, covered it up. Yeah. Woo. Amen. Yes, I ordered Checkers. One of those. Ooh. Ooh, steaming. Checkers fries. What? Checkers fries. So I know they were gonna be soggy. I already know. Oh, and they salty. They good. Let me see. My phone on temp. I'll put my phone on charge. History. Ooh, that thing big. I need all that salt. What's for dinner? Checkers. What y'all have for dinner? It's 9:43 where I'm at. I really shouldn't be eating this late. So I need to wait about another hour and a half before I lay down. Sure, almost like 2 hours really. And they got these onions on here. What y'all have for dinner tonight or this evening? Woo. Woo. All right. Gonna finish this up. I will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye. I'll probably pop it. I may pop back in to show the end result, but I gotta eat first. Bye. Let's see.